The champagne flute shattered against the marble floor of the rooftop lounge like a gunshot in a crowded room, silencing the jazz quartet mid-note and drawing every eye to me. Dominic Reyes, the golden boy who'd orchestrated this whole glittering farce. Gabriel's fiancée, Elena, gasped from across the terrace, her diamond ring catching the fairy lights as she clutched his arm, but I couldn't look at her. My gaze locked on him, the man who'd been my anchor since we were scrawny kids dodging bullies in Brooklyn. "You're throwing it all away." I spat, my voice cracking like thunder over the Hudson. "And for what? A safe bet that leaves you hollow?" Gabriel's eyes, those deep brown pools that had pulled me under 1,000 times without him ever knowing, widened in the humid July air, the kind of shock that hits like a sucker punch from your oldest friend. We'd built this night together. Me scouting the venue in the meatpacking district, him taste-testing the past hors d'oeuvres until we laughed over spilled truffle oil stains on his jeans. Now, here we were, under strings of Edison bulbs swaying like guilty secrets, and I just torched it all with words I'd bottled up for years. I don't know what possessed me to plan his engagement party. Maybe it was the masochistic thrill of watching him glow, oblivious to the ache gnawing at my chest every time he slung an arm around my shoulders and called me bro. Or maybe it was denial, the kind that festers in a city like New York, where dreams stack up against the skyline and love affairs bloom and wither faster than bodega flowers. Gabriel and I met in freshman year at NYU, two wide-eyed transplants from immigrant families. His Puerto Rican firecracker mom running a bodega in the Bronx, mine a stoic Mexican nurse in Queens. We bonded over late-night ramen and bad rom-coms, him sketching architecture dreams while I coded apps that no one ever bought. He was the artist, all fluid lines and bold strokes. I was the planner, mapping out contingencies like a human spreadsheet. By senior year, we'd crashed on each other's futons more nights than I could count, whispering about escaping the grind, building something real. "You're gonna design the next Guggenheim, Gabe?" I'd say, and he'd grin that lopsided smile, the one that made my stomach flip like I'd chugged bad coffee. "Only if you handle the boring shit, Dom, like permits and funding." We graduated into the real world, him interning at a mid-tier firm in Midtown, me freelancing web designs from a shoebox apartment in Williamsburg. We were each other's constants. Brunches at that greasy diner on Bedford, pick-up basketball in McCarran Park where he'd fake limp after I dunked on him, just to make me laugh. Elena entered the picture 2 years ago, a sharp-witted paralegal from his office with a laugh like wind chimes and a family trust fund that screamed old money. She was everything practical. Weekend getaways to the Hamptons, networking dinners at Per Se, a future mapped out in 5-year increments. Gabriel proposed on a crisp October evening at the High Line, down on one knee with the city humming below, and when he texted me the blurry photo of the ring, her hands splayed against the sunset, I felt the first real crack. "Dude, it's happening. You're my best man, right?" Of course I was. Of course I'd say yes. Planning the party became my obsession, a way to pour everything unspoken into logistics. I booked the rooftop at the Standard, high above the West Village, with views that stretched to Jersey like a promise of forever. I curated the playlist, old-school salsa mixed with indie folk, because that's us, roots and reinvention. I even designed the invitations on cream stock, embossed with a skyline silhouette, my fingers lingering on the keyboard as I typed their names. Gabriel and Elena. Forever. The word tasted like ash. The night unfolded like a dream I didn't want to wake from. Guests trickled in, his architect buddies from the firm, her sorority sisters from Vassar, our mutual crew from the old days, faces softened by craft cocktails and the golden hour haze. Gabriel looked devastating in a slim-fit navy suit, his curls tamed just enough to look intentional, that silver cufflink glinting, the one I'd gifted him for his 25th, engraved with "Build Bold." He pulled me into a bear hug as soon as I arrived, smelling of cedar cologne and possibility. "Dom, this is unreal. You outdid yourself, man." I played the part, circulating with a tray of elderflower spritzes, cracking jokes about how Elena's vows better include, "I promise not to steal his last empanada." Laughter rippled, easy and warm, but every time his hand brushed mine passing a drink, or our eyes met across the crowd, It was like static electricity arcing in my veins. Elena was radiant, her sundress swirling as she danced with her dad. A silver-haired banker who eyed me like I was the help. She was good for him, I told myself. Steady. The kind of love that doesn't demand you rewrite your soul. But as the sun dipped low, painting the terrace in bruised purples, the champagne hit me harder than it should. We'd snuck away to the edge for a smoke. Old habit from college stress benders. Leaning on the railing, the city a glittering beast below. "You happy, Gabe?" I asked, exhaling smoke toward the stars that weren't visible through the light pollution. He stubbed out his cigarette, turning to me with that earnest gaze. "Yeah, man. Elena. She's it. Grounded, you know? After all the chaos." Chaos. That's what he'd called his flings back in school. The late-night confessions over whiskey when we'd stumble home from bars in the East Village. The ones where he'd hook up with guys from apps, then ghost them by dawn, burying it under sketches and sarcasm. I'd listen, heart hammering, offering bro advice while imagining what it would be like if he looked at me that way. "What about you?" he nudged. "Still dodging dates like they're tax audits?" I laughed it off, but the words clawed up my throat, fueled by the fizz in my blood and the ache in my chest. "Nah, just waiting for someone who gets it, who pushes you, not pulls you back." He clapped my shoulder, oblivious. "That's why you're the best, Dom. You always see the big picture." Back inside, the toast started. Elena's maid of honor gushed about their storybook romance. Her dad raised a glass to new chapters in the American dream. When it was my turn, I stood with mic in hand. The crowd hushed, fairy lights haloing me like a confessor. I started safe. Stories of Gabe's disastrous first internship, the time we got lost in the subway during a blackout and ended up philosophizing till dawn. Laughter swelled, then faded as I veered off script. "But here's the thing," I said, voice steady but eyes only on him. "Gabriel's always been more than this city lets him be. He's got fire in his veins, dreams bigger than blueprints. And yeah, love's great, it's the glue. But settling? When you could build empires, touch the sky." I paused, the mic hot in my palm. "Gabe, you're not reaching your potential. Not with this." The shatter came next, the flute from my trembling hand, shards scattering like broken promises. Gasps rippled, Elena's face paling as she whispered, "What the hell, Dominic?" But I couldn't stop. The dam had burst. Gabriel froze, his color draining, then flushing red as he strode toward me. Guests parting like the Red Sea. "Dom, what the fuck?" he hissed, grabbing my elbow, dragging me toward the service door. We burst onto the fire escape, the metal groaning under our weight, the party a muffled roar behind us. Rain had started, a sudden summer squall slicking the rungs, but we didn't care. He spun me around, rain sheeting down his face, mixing with what might have been tears. "What was that? You planned my night, my life, and then you pull this shit? Accuse me of what? Wasting myself." I shoved him back, gentle but firm, my shirt clinging cold. "Because you are. Elena's safe, Gabe. She's the picket fence, the 401k, the life your mom always wanted for you. But you're meant for more. Skyscrapers that scrape the clouds, designs that change how people live. Not playing house because it's easier." His laugh was bitter, echoing off the brick walls. "Easier? You think I don't know what I'm doing? I fought for every inch. Nights up till dawn on models that get scrapped. Bosses who see me as the diversity hire. Elena gets it. She pushes me, in her way. Bullshit." The word hung heavy, rain pounding like accusations. I stepped closer, too close, the heat of him cutting through the chill. "You push me, Gabe. Always have. Remember that thesis? You wouldn't let me quit when the code crashed. You saw me." My voice broke. "I see you too. The real you. The one who sketches nudes at 3 a.m., who dances salsa like it's a rebellion. Not this watered-down version." He searched my face, confusion twisting into something sharper. "Recognition? Betrayal? Dom. What are you saying?" "Everything. The years of swallowed confessions, the way I dated women to fit the script, then men in secret, always measuring them against him. The betrayal wasn't his, it was mine, for building his altar and then toppling it. I'm saying you're settling for a life that dims you, and it kills me because I choked, rain blurring my vision. I thought we were in this together, building something, not you walking away. Gabriel's hand found my jaw, thumb rough against my stubble, holding me there in the downpour. Time fractured. The city wailed below, horns and sirens a distant chorus, while up here, on this rattling perch, his breath ghosted my lips. "Dom," he whispered, voice raw as exposed rebar. "You think I don't feel it? The pull? Every time we talk till the sun comes up, every time I crash at your place instead of hers. It's you. It's always been you pulling me forward." The world tilted. His mouth crashed into mine, desperate and salt-sweet with rain. A kiss that tasted of regret and revelation. My hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, the betrayal unspooling into truth. We'd both been cowards, hiding in plain sight. But as quickly as it ignited, he pulled back, eyes shattered glass. "But Elena, the party, everyone, I can't. You can." I cupped his face, thumbs tracing the lines worry had etched too young. "Or you can't. But don't lie to yourself. To us." He sank against the railing, head bowed, rain carving rivers down his neck. Minutes stretched, the storm easing to a drizzle, the party music filtering out like a fading dream. When he finally spoke, it was quiet, humanistic in its honesty. "I love her, Dom. In a way. The easy way. But you're the hard one. The one that could break me open." We didn't go back inside. He texted Elena a vague, "need air." And we descended the fire escape, splashing through alleys to my apartment blocks away. No grand gestures, just two guys on a worn leather couch, passing a six-pack, unpacking the wreckage. He talked about the fear, coming out to his mom, who'd crossed herself and then hugged him fierce. The firm where queer architects still whispered about glass ceilings, literal and not. I confessed my own ghosts, the apps I'd deleted after his proposal pic, the therapy sessions where his name slipped out unbidden. Dawn crept in, gray light over the East River, and he didn't leave. Not for her, not for the safe life. Instead, we sketched, him on paper, wild concepts for a community center in the Bronx, green spaces for kids like we were. Me on my laptop mocking up funding pitches. It wasn't fireworks or forever promises. It was human, messy, incremental, the kind of love that builds from ruins. Weeks later, the engagement dissolved quietly. No scandals, just a joint statement about growing in different directions. Elena found someone steadier. Gabriel dove into his designs, landing a solo exhibit at the AIA Gala. We didn't label us, not yet. But on quiet nights, when the city hums lullabies, he sketches beside me, his hand finding mine across the table. And I know, potential isn't a destination. It's the courage to reach, together, toward whatever skyline we damn well please.